The last thing Captain Jones needed to worry about right now was a murder, especially the murder of a highly regarded military man who had served with honor in various colonial wars. All he could think about was his own death, and what his mother would say when she saw his body, with the heart ripped from his chest, and possibly with his head missing. On top of that, he hadn't slept for days. He could smell the smoke from the rebels' fires as it wafted across the hills, and hear the cacophony at the gates as settlers pounded on the doors, begging to be let in to the safety of the redoubt. Like him, they had read the story in the chronicle of the massacre of women and children in Poverty Bay. Are the rebels coming for us next, everybody wondered, as they clutched their children close? Jones had heard that the rebels believed their battle cry, Pai Morire How How, protected them from European bullets. Beliefs were more powerful than bullets, and for that reason, he was sure that nothing would stop their advance. He was spending his time pushing the thought of the coming assault from his mind, while simultaneously planning a way to stop it. The coming battle would be his first, and he hoped, not his last. Lieutenant Colonel Whitmore, the commander of the troops in the field, had ridden up from headquarters in Wanganui to inspect the site and then departed for the scene of the massacre after declaring the redoubt extremely vulnerable because it could be looked down on from the heights of another hill. But he had offered no real solution to the problem. Jones knew he had recently pushed for the entire Wanganui district to be cut off from the rest of the country.
"All you can do is build up the palisades,"
he said as he rode off with the bulk of the cavalry previously stationed in the district,
"and stay on the qui-vive."
Jones had never been much of a Latin student, but he believed the phrase meant something along the lines of, "Stay awake, or you're a dead man." Seated at his desk in the blockhouse, trying to stay awake, Jones felt his eyes droop and massaged his forehead to stop from falling asleep. Better take a walk around the perimeter of the redoubt and make sure all the guards were in place on the newly raised palisades. The rebels could come at them from any direction, and although they didn't usually attack at night, he had to keep his mind open to all possibilities. To stay on the bloody qui-vive. His eyes drooped a second time, and his head slumped onto his chest. He was in the midst of a terrifying dream that a half-naked, axe-wielding rebel had leapt through the window and was about to tear out his heart, when Tom Duffy, one of the older volunteers he'd left by the gate to let panicked settlers inside, flung open the door without knocking and came storming in. Jones came halfway out of his dream, clawing at his heart.
"Captain Jones, sir, there's been a murder."
That jolted him into wakefulness. Had the Maori rebels arrived already? He jumped to his feet, ready to act.
"Who did they kill? One of the settlers?"
"It wasn't a killing. It was a murder,"
said Duffy, splitting hairs.
"Major Barnes and his wife. She says Major Barnes' servant did it."
"Who said? Mrs. Barnes? I thought she'd been murdered."
"Mrs. Barnes' sister," said Duffy. "I just closed the gate thinking to myself, that's it. Everyone who wanted to get inside was here, when this woman came barreling along the road screaming her head off, saying the servant had killed them both. She was covered in blood."
"Did we know Mrs. Barnes had a sister living with her?" asked Jones. "I hadn't heard of any new arrivals, other than the new servant who was on his way. But I haven't met him, or the sister for that matter."
"I met the sister just now," said Duffy.
He gave a grim smile.
"Not the best of circumstances. She looked familiar, resembles her sister. I imagine both rather downtrodden women. The new servant, Jack Martin, walked past my farm when I was fixing the fence a couple of days ago. Seemed like a nice bloke. Small and thin, though. The type who'd be better at polishing boots than protecting anyone. Didn't look like the murderous type to me.